Welcome to For Good Measure, an interview series celebrating diverse composers and other creative artists, sponsored by a grant from the California Arts Council. I'm Nanette McGuinness, Artistic Executive Director of Ensemble for these times. In this week's episode, we continue our conversation with Hitomi Oba, who we spoke to in December 2023. What advice would you give young or emerging or women or Asian or mother composers, any group or combination of groups you'd want to talk to?
Yeah, advice, without sounding, I guess, like preachy. These are all just, from my
Of
experiences.
course.
Yeah, but I've found that I think supporting one another,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just like cherishing community, and within that kind of like finding advocates is like one of the most important things. So I'd mentioned like, being around more people who with similar circumstances recently has been so empowering and just makes me feel emotionally more capable of doing creative work.
Right.
It's so important. So, finding people, this applies to people who aren't musicians too, but just like finding people who are healthy for your personal well-being, right? And
Yes.
growth, but also for us, for our musical development and for our exploration. So people who like are conducive to making more of that happen.
Right.
Um, and like, so in particular, like if you're in a partnership, right? Finding a partner who understands this and can be like the best advocate for you is like a
Yeah.
huge deal, especially for women, right? I think especially, still in this society, and especially if you're thinking of taking on the responsibility of like having dependents, or like
Right.
having children together. This is like a huge deal, huge conversation and huge choice that needs to be happen if you're going to go into like a partnership with someone, I think, because I think I'm really fortunate to have like my biggest advocate, is my partner. He's my husband, and so he's prioritized this, my creative pursuits,
That's great.
throughout this,
That's very
even after
important.
having children. Yeah, it's still hard, but I still talk to my peers who say like, yeah, like they're still doing their music, but an outshare like the portion of child care and mental load is like
Mm-hmm.
on them still, in hetero couple. Yeah, there's a hetero couple, but like
Yeah.
so like
Right.
right. So like, it's still like a big consideration, a huge consideration.
Yeah.
Um, and then I guess along with that, like, just remembering, so finding an advocate for you, but also you remembering that you don't have to be like other people. That was something that I did struggle with, based on the messaging and, I was getting and the experiences I was having as a young person. So, just remembering that the greatest thing we can offer is what is uniquely ours. And so prioritizing that and first discovering that, and
Yeah.
acknowledging that. So kind of realizing that is still like an ongoing process for me. And I assume it is for most people, but realizing it's like, what things are, uniquely and authentically me and what things are maybe happening because of various pressures, and messaging I might be getting.
Yeah.
But that's the most powerful thing. So being able to surround yourself with people who can recognize those things, maybe even sometimes when you can't, you'll be happier, composing and music making will be much more possible in general, right? Like just mental
Yeah.
space wise, creativity wise, and practically too. So the people are important, I think. People are important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Support. And I think creative people we're always evolving. So the
Mm,
definition of who we are is a moving target.
yeah.
And having people who applaud that and enhance it rather than trying to stick our feet in cement as we move along.
That is such a great point, acknowledging the evolution as well. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So then maybe having like a community that's like more dynamic will help
Mm.
that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
With changes. Yeah.
And also people who support, because when I was coming up again when I was young, there was a lot more what I would consider not as healthy competition.
Mm,
There's a lot of competition in our industry. It's embedded in it. There's not much one can do about that. And yet, if we act as colleagues and share, a rising tide floats many more
right.
boats,
Right.
and there seems to be more recognition now that if
Absolutely.
we don't support
Absolutely.
each other, who will?
so much more powerful to work as, yeah, as a community than, yeah, it's funny, the competition thing, it's still embedded. Like I still find myself, kind of like falling along this, that perception still, even if my thought process is like recognizing it, I still have those feelings sometimes as well,
Oh yeah,
um,
the
as
invidious
much as
comparison.
the comparison, the competition, even if, my values are not in line with those emotions anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very strong. It's very strong. Yeah. But being able to be around people, I think actually, being around people and actually talking about those things helps break that down, as we're discussing here right now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is all fabulous advice for anybody, who's trying to move forward in their creative path. So,
Keep telling myself.
right.
Yeah.
Well, there's the internal stuff we do and then the stuff we do to the rest of the world. And
Mm,
ideally we mirror to the world what we want done to us, and then the whole thing becomes one happy thing.
absolutely. Oh, that was very well said. Absolutely. Also
Oh,
good to
thanks.
remember.
Thank you. Are there any projects that you're currently working on or recent ones you've done that you'd like to share with us? Maybe what you're doing for Composing Earth, but maybe other
Mm.
stuff too. I mean, you're doing all sorts of interesting things.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to share this. This is always also always so nice when people invite you to share their projects. Thank you. So I mentioned my recent saxo album that came out.
Right?
It came out in May, and that one. So I'd been doing a lot of pre-composed, music making recently during that time, and so I wanted to take a moment to focus on my improvising again. So that one is primarily improvised with some, really cherished collaborators. And that one is called Water Stem, and I released it on Asian Improv Records.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had some mentors on it as well, and really fabulous peers. So that was an exploration of, my voice as a improvising saxophonist.
Great.
And then I am working on a next album, also saxophone, maybe a little bit more composed, but that's a separate project. No release date yet. And I think the biggest project I'm working on right now is a collaborative piece with my sister Erica, who you had on the
Mm-hmm.
show. I forget. I listened to the interview. I don't remember if she mentioned it or not. This is in collaboration with the Fresno Philharmonic, as well as the GLFCAM, Gabriel and Frank Academy of Music, in terms of funding. And this is an orchestra piece that's based on the writings of an organic peach farmer in the Fresno area. He's also a
Ah.
writer named
Mm-hmm.
David Masumoto. He's a published author, and so he has a writing that's based on the lives of, it's fictional, but it's based on kind of his family history, four generation of women, first generation, second generation, third generation, having come to America,
Wow.
and their kind
Wow.
of experiences. Yeah, it's very powerful. The writing is beautiful and so inspirational. And so we're writing a piece based on that, and it's been collaborative. We actually got to have a reading recently with some of the players, and Rei Hotoda, who's the conductor.
Mm-hmm.
It was her, it was her vision, and she's making it. She's another great visionary who's trying to, lift up different voices and,
Mm-hmm.
incorporate community, all these things that we've been talking about this interview that are so important to, future music making, I think. So she's a great collaborator and great visionary. But yeah, it's been collaborative. So we got to go to his farm. He kind of explained a lot of his concepts about nature,
Yeah.
his relationship with time, his ideas about immigration and, heritage, and all of these things that are intertwined so beautifully. It has to do with seasons, so it's called kisetsu. The project is called kisetsu in Japanese. And again, it's been wonderful working with these, like, Japanese American artists, who are focused on a lot of the values that Erica and I value as well, interconnectedness between people and, nature, and also how they relate to heritage and, all of these
Mm.
things. So it's really, it's incredible writing. And so we're writing this piece together. It's the first large pre-composed work that Erica and I've worked on together.
Wow.
So it's been a
Very
process.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very, and again, I said at the very beginning, we've been kind of overlapping lately. And so we've been having a lot more conversations about, musical things and extra musical things. And
Yeah.
it's
How
been a great
special.
opportunity. It's very special. I'm grateful for this opportunity to get to, dive into a lot of these conceptual things and musical things with her. So it's been a process, yeah. And we have, and it's great. Gabby's so great about setting this up. The format's wonderful. She made sure that we had several points we could touch base with Ray and Moss, and have readings, and to make it really a really worthwhile experience, not
Yeah.
just about the end product,
Yes.
and so she's the one who advocated for making this, such a good process, we have ample time to work on it. And yeah, it's been very cool. So that's kind of our big project right now. And then just very quickly, the other thing is the Composing Earth project, which is I'm getting to work with a Fry Street quartet, and we'll be I think they're writing for several other of my people in my cohort are going to be writing for them as well. But we're
Nice.
all kind of going off and based on the education and discussions we received this year to write pieces addressing the climate crisis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a couple of questions, but I want to circle back first.
Oh, okay.
Does kisetsu mean seasons?
Oh, it does. I'm sorry, it wasn't
That's
clear.
okay.
Kisetsu is
I was
Japanese
pretty
term
sure.
for seasons. Yeah.
I was pretty sure but I don't speak Japanese. I'm
I
sorry.
should have clarified.
And what's the name of the text that the Fresno Philharmonic piece is based on?
It's yet unpublished, but I think
Ah,
the working title was Music of Ghosts. Music of Ghosts, yeah.
right.
Masks of Endurance, yeah.
That's the actual text, not your
That's the
piece.
actual text. Yes,
Right.
that's
Your
correct.
piece is kisetsu and the
Oh,
mass.
the project is called Kisetsu,
Okay.
and the piece is yet untitled.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And moving forward now to the Composing Earth piece, do you want to tell us anything about what you're doing with that, or is it still too close to your
Yeah.
inspiration and thoughts that not ready to be unveiled?
Yeah, you know what? I'm still working through it. We are kind of fresh out of the kind of information stage right now,
Yeah.
and the most recent kind of discussions and information that we've gotten was like pretty, like it was it was kind of explosive. So I think I'm still kind of wrapping my head around all these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'll be able to consolidate it in terms of words much better at a later date.
Right. That it's still a chrysalis at the moment. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, I want to thank you very much for doing this
Thank
amazing
you.
interview. This was so interesting.
Oh, Nanette, thank you for being such a wonderful, person to talk to about these things. Yeah, this has been so fun, and I've gotten me to think about a lot of things as well.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you for listening to For Good Measure, and a special thank you to our guest Hitomi Oba for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast by clicking on the subscribe button, and support us by sharing it with your friends, posting about it on social media, and leaving us a rating and a review. To learn more about E4TT, our concert season online and in the Bay Area, or to make a tax-deductible donation, please visit us at e4tt.org. This podcast is made possible in part by a grant from the California Arts Council and generous donors like you. For Good Measure is produced by Nanette McGuinness and Ensemble for These Times and designed by Brennan Stokes, with special thanks to co-producer and audio engineer Stephanie M. Neumann. Remember to keep supporting equity in the arts and tune in next week for Good Measure.